Interviews, something that every one of us have gone through and experienced at some phase of our lives. Some of us may feel nervous about an interview. Some of us may feel excited about having an interview. On the contrary, some of us may feel enthusiastic about conducting an interview. Adab listeners, here is Giridhar on the podcast Giridhar's Gardi, equally enthusiastic today to conduct an interview about the logic of interviews. Today we have someone who seemed to be an introvert but an extrovert, smart, talented, hardworking, and a fast learner, thus stand out to be a salient personality. Also a movie buff by choice, he is welcoming the guest for today's episode, Sai Lohit. Hi Sai, welcome to Girdhas Gardi. How are you doing and how do you feel like being here as a guest on the podcast?
Hi, Gideon. To answer the first part of your question, I'm doing really great. And for the second part of the question, I feel thrilled to be here because for the first time, I'm speaking about some topic which is related to everyone, and my voice
Yeah,
is going to be heard over different platforms. I'm really looking forward for this.
great. Thank you so much. So, Sai, tell us, what are your general thoughts about the interviews?
Mm, yeah, interview is just a process of evaluating someone if he or
Mhm.
she is suitable for the opportunity and are they eligible for this pay. That's the main
Correct.
theme of interview. Just the interviewer comes there by some checklist and he thinks of few things that these are the points which the candidate should have. If you are definitely an apt person for the opportunity, you would definitely be selected, but maybe sometimes you may not be selected just because you are not meeting that checklist whatever he is carrying with him. But
True.
it's just an evaluation process for any kind of opportunity in any place.
Okay. Yeah. So, what are the factors that one should keep in mind before attending the interviews?
Mm, Mainly I would say there are only two factors which everyone should remember. The first one would
Mhm.
be the JD. He should know what JD he's going for. He should definitely
Okay.
read every point which is present inside that, and
Yeah.
he should have some experience on it in any manner. The second thing would
Hmm.
be he should know what all responsibilities he is going to play for that opportunity. If
Yeah.
he can able to answer these two questions, definitely, then there is nothing which he need to prepare for or should take care of for any kind of interview.
Great. How to get rid of the nervousness and anxiety before attending the interviews?
For this, I would say the first thing you should remember that the person
Mhm.
whoever is sitting on the other type of other side of the table is also an human being. That would definitely relax you at least for 50%. The second thing would be if the interview is making you to go to some other zone where you are not familiar with, definitely
Mhm.
you have to get drag him to your comfort zone and make him sit there. And if he is in your
Okay.
comfort zone and if he is asking you numerous questions there, you should not smile and show your anxiety there. You should try to be in a
Okay.
composed manner and try to answer them in a settled way so that both of them are feeling as if they are going in a right direction of the interview. And you should never leave a clue to them saying that, yeah, now you came to my comfort zone, let's do this. That would be the second point. And third one, where everyone will feel this anxiety or nervousness is when you are
Mhm.
doing an interview for your dream company. But remember one thing, that is not going to be your last interview for that. Let's think,
Yes.
you are starting your career, you are thinking of some dream company that I should get this opportunity in this company, but you are not doing that, but it's not going to be the end of the world or something. If you're not going
Yeah.
to do this time, maybe after 2 or 3 years, if you are having some experience and going towards the same company, you may get selected. But finally
Correct.
you have a whole life to get to your dream company. But whenever you do that,
Exactly.
that would be a treatful way there. How you have approached to that company would be a story for yourself. And
Yeah.
there is some other hack also right now. This I
Mhm.
think will be applicable only until the interviews are going to be on online, because right now many companies are sending the mails by saying that your interview is scheduled to this time and this date. At that moment few companies are doing a mistake where they are giving the panel mail IDs also in the same mail. They're dropping the mail
Mhm.
to the panel also that please be available for the same time. So
Oh.
in some way you can find out those email IDs, go to LinkedIn, search for them with the same
Mhm.
name. In filters you
Yeah.
can get the company, and finally when you found out that person you can check for the main thing, like you can in LinkedIn, if the profile is updated on daily basis, definitely you will find some
Okay.
session there where the person is expert at. You can see his
Yeah.
experience, you can know what all things he has worked on, and you can see how many people has given an endorsement to him on which skill. On basis of that you can prepare an outline for the interview that this guy is going to concentrate on these factors just because he is an expert at that level. So that would make you more easy when you are going for an interview. And that I would say that is an one of the hack right now, but I don't think
Okay.
how many days it is going to work, because maybe within an year we may go back to our offices, then this may
Correct.
not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well said, Sai. In fact, that's an amazing answer that I was looking from you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now tell me, what are the do's and don'ts while you are in an interview? Because now that we have already completed the pre-interview process and checklist, we are in the interview now. So just let us know, what are the do's and don'ts while we are in an interview?
When you are an interview, see, whenever you are going to an interview, the first thing you should remember is you should brush up your basics. And
Mhm.
I would say not to go through the books for like hours and hours just before the interview. That may not help you. But if you're just
Yeah.
done with your basics and if you're going there, you're just going to
Mhm.
speak out your experience. You're not going to say something right from the book. And
Correct.
never take your interviews as an study hours class or something, because when you are a student you have someone who is going to ask you some question directly from the book, but interviews never happens like that. They just think whether you are able to speak out from your experiences or not. That's the only
Yeah.
thing they will look out for.
Correct.
And let's think, the don'ts point for interview would be, if you
Mhm.
found out that your panel is also from your local place, and let's think he's asking you questions in your local language itself, never answer him
Okay.
in your local language, just because this would be my personal experience where it went into a different zone.
Oh,
If I was sticking to uh, English, and if I was maintaining my professionalism, maybe it would have went in a different direction. But definitely I would say from my experience that don't go to your local language just because you can speak as a professional in only English. That you should only remember, because if you go to your
okay.
local language somewhere, as you are not speaking with elders, or as you are not in a corporate world, if you, as you are not going to speak in the same language, that would make a difference for you, and it would not make you comfortable as well when you're answering some questions. So for that, I
Okay.
would say try to go only in a professional way for that. And let's
Okay.
think you are looking for some opportunity. Uh, then don't think of your personal attack. Like um,
Mhm.
if you are a technical person, for you the only thing the person is going to judge you is on your technicality. He's not going to judge you on your personal attack. I would
Okay.
definitely say, when you are looking for some opportunity like manager or some leader post or something, then definitely there your personal attire also comes into an place, and there you should
True.
make a note of it also, and you should keep some separate time just to check whether you're well dressed or not. But if you are
Yeah.
a technical person, it doesn't make you a mandatory question where you should be well dressed, because if you're well
Okay.
dressed you have to behave well, you have to make him feel as you're well dressed and well behaved as well. But when you're speaking in technical terms, the only thing you should keep in your mind is just go with the technicality, and your tech stack is the only weapon you are going to hold inside the interview. There is no other thing which is going to stop you, and you have to just concentrate on one point where you are bringing the interviewer to your comfort zone. You're not making him go to some danger zone where you're not familiar with. That's the only thing which you should remember.
Awesome. So, Sai, just like it happens with every one of us, sometimes we may encounter with some unknown questions in an interview. So, tell us how to deal with these unknown questions in an interview.
I would say using a skip option there would be a right answer, because I
Okay.
have a theory for that as well. Let's
Mm-hmm.
think there is some topic X, and the interviewer was
Okay.
asking you about X, and
Mm-hmm.
finally you came to know that I know the outline of it. Let us answer it. And if you answer
Okay.
that outline of that answer, the interviewer will expect something from you, and he will ask a counter question for the same answer. Whenever you are
Yes.
answering some question, just remember that your answer is the next question for the interviewer. That is the main key which goes inside any interview. Like, there is no skeleton for any interview. Let's think
Mm-hmm.
one interviewer will come with a set of questions which he is going to ask for every person, but there is a lot of chances for you just to divert him from that question paper and move towards you, because
Mm-hmm.
whatever answer you are going to give, that's the key for him to go for the next question. He should definitely encounter another question in the same answer what you gave. So definitely, when you don't know anything about that topic and if you're just familiar about it, it's best if you can answer it as an, I know that just this outline of that, but I don't know many things about it. But please let me note down this topic so that I can go and brush this skills up whenever I'm out of this interview. Maybe
Wow.
that would create a good impact for him, like, okay, this guy is noting something down. Maybe he will look forward when he is back to his home. That would be a good
Correct.
thing. But without giving a good reply in this manner, if you're just going forward, then he will ask
Mm-hmm.
you a counter question, and if you're not answering that, remember this one more point, that whenever you are not answering some question to any interviewer, that would become
Mm-hmm.
his weapon, and he starts asking questions just around it, and he will never even make you realize that I'm asking around this topic itself. So finally you are in
Oh.
the death zone, and right now you can't even speak anything, and finally your interview end up in a negative pattern. That would be the same, like, right now if some other person is simply saying no for that question and going
Mm-hmm.
forward to some other question, and if that topic you are familiar with, and if you are answering about it and slowly making him stay in the same topic, that would become a
Mm-hmm.
good interview for you instead of becoming a bad one. So I would say skip would be the right answer instead of getting tensed. If you're just saying him that no, I don't know about it, then just he'll go for the next question, because no one in this world knows anything, uh, all the things. Like, even if you're
Correct.
working on the same technology,
Yeah.
maybe you are not familiar with the updated version of the same thing which you're working, but you are
True.
familiar with some downgraded version, but you are familiar with it. Right now other
Yeah.
persons are using some upgraded version, but right now whatever version you are using, you are familiar with everything inside it. That would make a good impact for him, that okay, this guy knows these things, but once when he comes to our company, maybe he will learn the updated version techniques whatever has been involved, and he would become a pro in it. Just you need to make
Exactly.
him feel confident about yourself. That would make
Yes.
the good reply, I guess.
Yes, yes. In fact, one thing that I really liked while you were saying is noting down the things that we were not aware and just letting the interviewer know that, okay, I'm noting down and I'll search and know about these things at a later point of time. That definitely adds a strong value to you and even to the entire interview process. So that's an amazing response, I again, once again.
Yeah, actually it really helped me in my real life also, where I went to many interviews
Wow.
and just noted them down. But those are the new topics for me to learn. For me it helped me in that way.
Yes. Great, great. Sai, now tell me the major part of this episode. I mean, the major question from this entire the logic behind cracking an interview.
Okay, you are saying this is a major question, but I feel like there is no logic for that basically. That
Okay.
totally depends on the mood of the interviewer. See,
Mhm.
when let's think, as I have been on the both sides of the table, I would say that when I was an interviewer, I have a checklist for me. I know what all things I need to get confirmation for. But whenever
Okay.
I was an interview, I was ready with my JD, and I know that he is going to ask me from only these questions. But
Okay.
when you come under a checklist, you have so many things which you need to grade the interview for, because you need to grade him on his communication skills, attitude.
Okay. Yeah.
There are so many things. These are just two factors which I said, but there are like 10 factors which they will give you, and you have to grade him on all of them, and finally you will give some rating for that interview. Once the
Correct.
rating was provided to the management, then they take different kind of action on that. But
Yes.
there will never be an logic, because let's think there are three people and three people are having same technical stack, and they are coming to an interview. Suddenly one person is getting selected, and finally when you see these other two people who are left out, they are more technically experienced than the person who has been selected. You
Okay.
can't judge why that interviewer has selected this person. He must have seen something from him, but like the other persons are well experienced, but he must have felt that these people are not ready for learning. The one whoever is having less experience and less tech stack, but this guy has that jill that he wants to learn new things, he wants to explore. If you are making interviewer that I am ready to do anything for you, or if you are making me feel that confident on yourself, then definitely you are going to get
Mhm.
selected. Because the minute you enter into the room and
Mhm.
you see the interviewer starts judging you from at least the first minute or the fifth minute. There is a rule that
Okay.
either on first minute or on the fifth minute, you have to judge the person and you have to come to a conclusion. But whenever you create an impact for him in the first minute or the second minute or on the fifth minute, you can't change that
Mhm.
opinion. If you prepare an impact for him, like, okay, this guy doesn't worth it, to make him feel
Okay.
that I worth this opportunity at the 15th minute would be a biggest task for you. Like, you can't do that very easily. There are very few people who can just make you erase the previous impact whatever they have created, and make you feel that yeah, I am also and uh, totally ready for this opportunity and I can do justice to that. There are very few people who
Yeah.
can do that, but whenever you screw up in the first 1 to 5th minute, then you can't just make the interview go in a better manner. But as an interview, if you're seeing, the minute you enter into the room, in the first from the first second, you have to
Mhm.
start judging the interviewer. You have to see what he's doing. You have to observe every small step there, and you have to start thinking like, okay, this guy character is this guy attitude is this. Okay, now he is going
Mhm.
to ask me in this way. You have to decide what he is going to do before itself. Basically, interview job is very less in compared to interviewee, just because he has to start judging him and he has to think like, okay, this guy attitude is in this way. If I answer this question in this way, he'll definitely ask me this question. If you are
Yeah.
knowing his character, then automatically your answer will become very easy for you. You know how to play the game now, because if you are a chess master, you know
Mhm.
which whatever coin you will move, you know the opposite
Yes.
person what he is going to move. Just you have
Correct.
to be a chess master here, and you have to make him go on your way. If you are going to do that, then definitely you can crack it easily. But there is no logic again. You can't make
Okay.
every interview work in a way. Like, when
Yeah.
you're giving some 10 interviews, there will be a luck factor for at least one from them. Just you have to use
Correct.
that luck factor exactly how you can use it. If you're not using that one interview, then you are not going to
Mhm.
crack it, because you have to wait for the other 10. to happen for
Correct.
yourself.
Correct. All right.
Yeah.
So there can be again like the chances which you were saying we may lose an interview. So let me just put another follow-up question on this. That is, what is the ideal way to deal with the experience of a lost interview?
Mm. For this, I would say analysis would be the right answer. You have
Mhm,
to analyze what went wrong yourself, because at that moment you have to just picture yourself in the other side of the table, and you have to listen to your own answers. You just have to
mhm.
rewind what happened, and you have to think of what may have went wrong. Definitely, if for any human being, they will think of at least 5 to 6 reasons. They will definitely get it for sure. Some people may end up with 10 reasons also, but you will definitely get with some reasons, and you'll find like maybe this went wrong, maybe this went wrong. Whatever
Correct.
point which you are in doubt with, try to correct them as soon as possible in yourself. If it is on a level of personality, if it is
Mhm,
on level of technicality, just you have to
mhm.
sit down and start reading again. You have to clear all your concepts once again. You have to practice on what went wrong. That's the only way which you can do the analysis perfectly and come back for a good interview. As I said
Okay.
before, noting down the concepts whatever you have never heard would also help you, because let's think your interview went for 45 minutes, but that would
Mhm.
become a dream for you when you come out. Because whenever you're sleeping, you get a lot of dreams. Like, you may get some 10 dreams for a day, but when you wake up and think about that dream, you'll just remember the outline of it. Very basically,
Correct.
if someone is telling you that I had this dream and he is explaining you what the dream he had,
Mhm.
definitely as per the analysis which I've seen on internet, he's going to tell you at least 90%. Whatever he's going to tell you is just a made up story which he just created while he's explaining.
True.
That 10% of the story would be the real skeleton of it. That happens for everyone, because no one can remember their dream. They just need to make it beautify and tell it in a cinematic manner, but no one can remember their dreams. In the same way, no one can remember what happened in those 40 minutes in an interview as well. If you're
Correct.
noting them down, then definitely there is something which is present in front of you as a proof.
Yes.
Maybe that would help you in there. And
Okay.
see, I would say one more point.
Mhm.
Whenever you have a good interview, I can say you for sure that there is no learning from it. You
Okay.
can't learn anything from there. But whenever you have a bad interview, just pray to
Mhm.
God, thank you for doing this. And you have like at least some 10 to 15 points in front of you, that okay, I need to develop all these skills. Because whenever I had a bad interview, I
Mhm.
really had nearly some 1 week to 2 weeks preparation time, just because I came to know that okay, I'm weak at these concepts. I had so many things in
Okay.
front of me. But whenever I have a bad interview, I don't even revise what happened last week and directly go for this next one. So
Okay.
I would say this would be the right answer for that as well. So whenever you have a bad interview, don't feel bad. Just feel happy that you are having so many things to learn.
Yes. Okay.
That would
Great.
be my take on that. I don't know how many people are going to obey with me.
At least I agree with you, Sai. Not a problem.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So my next question, Sai, it's about the your experience of facing the interviews. Of course, you have already told that some things here and there so far. But yeah, if you would like to add some more points regarding your experience of facing the interviews, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. See, basically, I take every interview as a learning.
Hmm.
I never had a good interview, I would say that, because I always have a bad ones and I had many learnings from them.
Okay.
As I said before, from 10 interviews, you have a luck factor at least in one of them. I feel like I
Okay.
grabbed that one every time perfectly. That
Hmm.
my take on what I'm judging, because whenever I have an interview, I rate myself. I don't rate the
Okay.
interviewer, I don't rate the interview, I rate myself. And I'll check
Oh.
whether if I'm see, whenever you're going for some other opportunity, right, you're not going
Mm-hmm.
to end up with one or two interviews. You definitely go for 10 or 15. I don't Someone can't even say their own count. Just
Yeah.
you have, you whenever you go for any interview, just rate yourself, just to see how whether you are improving yourself from one to other. Whenever you go to some movie, you rate that movie at least in your mind. If you are not doing it on your book or something, at least you rate that on your mind. In the same way, you have to rate yourself whenever an interview is done. And for me,
Yeah.
from my experience, I would say I have an advantage of being an introvert, where
Okay.
I can play both the roles. Now, if I understand the interviewer behavior, sometimes I just be myself like an introvert, and I start behaving the same. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I feel like, okay, this interviewer, whoever is doing my interview, is some enthusiastic person. Now I can even act as an extrovert. For any
Okay.
introvert person, they have this advantage where they can play the dual role. They can be the introvert whenever they want, and they can be extrovert when they are feeling uh, happy. Like whenever they are in a
Oh,
comfort zone, no one can stop them. Like you can't even stop. You will be like, why this guy is speaking this much? You will feel like that because they are in a comfort zone. But the same person, when he
okay.
is in some other place, he will be silent just because he has, and he again go back to his state where his originality comes back. For me, that helped me in
Okay.
many interviews where I can be just silent and I can speak in a settled manner. Right now, for this interview,
Mhm.
I'm again being an extrovert. I can say I'm acting as of an extrovert just because I know that I'm an introvert. That's the scenario right now. I have this advantage. Basically, I would say one more thing, like from my experiences, I would again repeat this. For this interview at least, I have
Mhm.
started appearing for some new opportunities from somewhere around March or something. But everyone knows that about the pandemic and lockdown happened, and no one had. Many of them had lost their jobs. So I was happy with
Yeah.
whatever I was at that time. But suddenly, whenever
Yeah.
these interviews has been started and whatever opportunity I was looking for, they started again asking for in. They started hiring for people. Then I felt like, okay, now I can start using it. But for me, there was some 6 to 8 months gap where I was not speaking to people. Right now, when you're in office, you're speaking to someone new every day at least. If not every day, at least for a week, you're meeting someone, you're speaking with them, your communication skills are getting improved, and finally
Correct.
you're ending up wherever you go, you can happily speak to any person just because you're already in touch with your slang and you know how to be in a professional way and how to do things. But for me, there is nothing to help me at that moment just because I had nearly 8 months of gap, and I was only bounded with my local language in these 8 months, and I don't have anyone to speak, just instead of chatting with the teammates inside our group and just discussing
Okay.
about project with the group. So
Mhm.
at that time, for me, somewhere I found some friend, and finally I ended up with Toastmaster Club, where I had an exposure to speak in English, and I was able to improve my communication skills. For me, I am
Okay.
just mentioning that point because there was someone who is correcting my grammar whenever I'm speaking there, which helped me
Okay.
indeed. That's why
Yeah.
I'm trying to mention it in this interview as well, just because it really helped me. And somewhere when I was giving my interviews, I kept these points in my mind. I was very keen about what I'm speaking.
Okay.
Maybe that helped me in writing and even in speaking.
Okay.
These are my experiences, my personal experience. Maybe that would differ for other people because no one is same in this world. Everyone has their own experiences and everyone has their own journey.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So, all right, Sai, like you said, you were talking about the learnings that you had while experiencing these interviews. So, my next question is, what are the learnings or lessons that you learned from your interviews experience?
Okay. Mm, I would say a small story for this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's think everyone in this world has a mobile phone. or any device, any smart device. Uh,
Okay.
for there right now, for any smart device, I would divide them into two parts. One would be Android, and another one would be Apple users. For
Okay.
Android, every year a new version comes out. Right now, I guess Android
Yeah.
11 is in the right now in the
Use.
market. I guess Android 11 is present, but when it
Yeah.
comes to iOS, it would be now 14 is running in iOS. From
Yes.
13 to 14, whatever new features have been developed, you have a
Mm-hmm.
demo of it, or else you go to some Google and start looking for what all new features have been released. In the same way
Correct.
for Android as well. Whenever you know
Yeah.
that okay, this feature has been released, then you start exploring them on your phone and you try to use them on daily basis. If it will
Okay.
help you, okay, this is the thing which you do on your normal life.
Correct.
The only thing which I learned from my interviews was to upgrade myself in the same way. Whatever tech stack I'm working on, a new version
Mm-hmm.
releases on maybe quarter basis, or else on half yearly basis, or else on annual basis. I just learned one thing, that whenever a new version releases, just look up
Mm-hmm.
what all new features they have introduced, because I already know what's going on in this version, but what's there in the upgraded version. I should upgrade my technologies. That one point I have learned, you should definitely know what's going on in the world, because maybe right now in whichever project you are present, you may not use it for another 1 or 2 or 3 years, but definitely whenever you are looking for some new opportunity in other
Okay.
places, they must be using the upgraded version. So when you go there, you should not sit and start reading about it at that point of time. If you're already upgraded, it will help you to directly go there and start implementing them. So
Okay.
that is the main point which I learned from my experiences. The second thing would
Mm-hmm.
be explore. I definitely learned that I need to explore things. I should never think about my project, my people, and I just should not be surrounded inside my comfort zone. I should explore and I should know what things are going on in other projects. Just because
Okay.
if you are inside your team and if you are happily enjoying inside your comfort zone, you can't have any learning on daily basis, or else I'll say on weekly basis. But if you're
True.
exploring and if you're seeing what others are doing, you have
Mm-hmm.
an ability of learning from them. If you're meeting new
Correct.
people, it means that you've met some new character, and right now you know how other character works.
Correct.
Yeah. And if you are in a big organization right now, you have nearly like, at least you will have lakhs of people working in that organization. Let's think, if you're meeting at least one character per day, how much you can learn from them. You
Okay.
will learn how to behave with people, you will learn how to make people work. Maybe maximum your leadership qualities also come from there only. But right now,
Yes.
if I'm speaking just about learning, I would say at least know how what all technologies are being used inside your ODC, I will say, or else inside the same cluster, I would say. If you are
Mm-hmm.
knowing these things, you can upgrade yourself. You have so many reasons just to keep you yourself moving towards some other software, some other new versions. Because if you are seeing some other person learning, definitely you will push your limits and you go forward. Moving forward, if you are somewhere at around 40s 50s, you definitely don't have that zeal inside you, that okay, let's learn this, let's do this. That definitely ends with you itself. So I would say upgrade yourself right now. Don't sit just with your comfort zone. Move forward, push your limits. That is the main learning which I had.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Sai, lastly, just one message for our listeners with respect to the interviews.
Oh, message.
Yeah.
I would summarize what I just spoke then, because
Okay.
the one message I could give from my learnings would be the lessons learned which I just said. So I would
Okay.
say upgrade yourself, guys. Prepare well before starting the process. This would be the biggest like mantra which I can give you from this interview. Because
Okay.
let's think you are going to look for some opportunity. You have decided that okay, now I have to start looking for this opportunity. The moment you have decided, you have to give at least 3 months of time just to brush up the things. You can't just go to the interview and say that I had a bad interview. You can't just do that for yourself. You have to start brushing the skills, then you have to go and then you have to judge yourself. Without doing any preparation, definitely I would say you have to rate yourself at least for 1 for 5, just because you did not prepare anything. If it went good, it's just on fluke. You have to obey that yourself itself. So I would say prepare well before starting the process, and the only mantra I can give is be confident.
Okay.
These are the three things which I can summarize for this interview.
Oh, nice. So, Sai, before we wind up, let's have a small fun segment that is the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. Yeah.
Great. Interview in formals or casuals?
My God, this is a big question. Uh, I would say formals, just
Okay.
because casual never make you like that. I mean, whenever you wear that formals, you've definitely found yourself like some professionalism comes in from you. Whenever you
Okay.
see in a formal attire in front of your mirror, some
Mhm.
way you feel that professionalism and it comes in from you. But in casual, you can't feel it. You can't explore that from a casual way.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Interviews in bearded look or clean shave?
Hmm, I would say beard, but well trimmed.
Okay. Interview on Saturday or Sunday?
Hmm, Saturday is very fine. At least you should have one day to rest.
Great. Interview pre-lunch or post-lunch?
Hmm, Anytime is fine. Just before your interview, you should have something inside your stomach, just because it is going to be for at least 1 hour. If you have had
Okay.
something before the interview, that is fine.
Okay. Interview online or offline?
I would say online, just because I found so many hacks from online only. So I
Okay.
would say online.
Interviewee or interviewer?
I have been on both sides of the table, but I would
Okay.
select interviewee, just because if you're an interviewer, na, I would say this on a social platform. I'm saying this because I have once interviewed someone who is more experienced than me, and he had more
Mhm.
exposure towards many technologies which I don't even know. When he was
Okay.
answering, I was in a blank face. I was just hearing to him, and somehow I acted very well in that interview, and I made him feel that I know these things. That was the biggest job I had at that moment. So for me, being an interview would be a biggest help for me, because I can't be a judgmental person. I can be an interviewee, and I want someone to judge me right now.
Okay. Great. Single or multiple interviewers?
Definitely multiple. Even if you're going for the first interview and you got your opportunity, I would say go for at least two, three, four, at least, just
Okay.
because
Okay.
if you're going for multiple interviews, there would be at least one bad interview which will push your limits.
Okay. Easy interview or tough interview? I think I know the answer.
Tough, definitely
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Technical interview or non-technical interview?
Definitely technical, because
Great.
you have to have a technical interview and you have to pray that non-technical interview will happen. That would be your HR round.
Okay. The last one. Giridhar or Sai?
Definitely, Sai.
Okay.
I love myself.
Well, great. So,
And Girda, I would add one more point here. As
mhm,
you asked me about interview online or offline, I would say
mhm,
interview online is the best option right now, just because you have that exposure to visit any location. Right now,
correct.
you can have interview from anywhere in the India, or you can have from UK also, if your client is
Yeah.
there. Where you
Yeah.
can't do that from offline, where you have to go to that particular location and do the interview. That you can't do
Correct.
if you're in a different city. That makes you have some boundaries as well. So
Yeah.
that would be a right option there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being with us on the show, Sai. We
Yeah,
look
my
forward to
pleasure, my
having you.
pleasure.
We look forward to having you once again on this podcast in future.
I would look forward for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you
So,
so
yeah. So that's it for today, listeners. We'll be back next week with another awesome guest. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you.